what if they created, in the end, a middle class that, if they're successful, would demand the kind of political liberalization that would make it more like us, United States. And there were people who felt we shouldn't treat the Chinese as a threat. We should treat the Chinese as a challenge to enable the Chinese to be economically successful to the point that they actually want to copy us and recognize us as the leader of the world. I'm oversimplifying, but they were debating very much at that point. It was at that point that President Clinton had to make a decision, and the decision was whether or not to let China join the WTO. And I think you remember the details about
2001,
that. And Clinton was not willing. He was very hesitant. Some of his advisors were saying, they are communists in the end. How can you trust them to observe the rules of GATT and WTO? They would take advantage and so. But others felt that if they succeeded in taking advantage and becoming successful as a capitalist economy, modeling themselves on us, they could change. So that made the final turn, and Clinton reluctantly, I think, agreed to let Zhu in fact, take the WTO rules, and Zhu did that to use the WTO rules to change the whole of the whole infrastructure of Chinese factory and manufacturing and so on, to follow the WTO rules, to take advantage of the globalization that the rules allowed. And he was successful. To everyone's surprise, how successful he was. That was those 10 years from Clinton letting them in to 2008, when the financial crisis undermined the American economy. Those 10 years were the best years of the Chinese economy by joining WTO. No, we know that now for certain. But for the Chinese, it was just good luck, because there was globalization at its freest. So all the capitalists in America moved their factories to China, as they should, according to capitalist principles. You go to where the labor is the cheapest and the quality is maintained, you make more money. And we do know the capitalists who invested in China became the richest people in America. The Chinese didn't make much money out of it, but they gained enough to relieve lots of people from poverty, but they didn't make that much money. Their percentage of the profits were very low compared to what the capitalists were gaining. So the paradox is, the American capitalists became richer, but the American middle class lost out. They lost their jobs because the factories all moved out, all the engineering and so on. And the working class also lost their jobs. The working class who were aspiring to be a virtual middle class in America began to lose their jobs or lost their jobs. So next thing they knew, they started to blame China for what happened to them. Whereas in fact, it was the rules of capitalist development, globalized, that made that difference. And the paradox is that the American capitalists are richer than ever, even today. With all these uncertainties that we are facing today, the American capitalists are actually getting richer. And Trump's friends and so on are actually getting richer, while the rest of the American population still has to, I think, bear the burden of paying those tariffs, because that will affect them. Their consumer prices are rising because if they don't get it direct from China with a lot of tariffs added, they're going to pay more, and because they can't make it themselves anymore. It take a long time for the manufacturing to actually turn up in America to recover. So the poor and the middle class are actually paying for all this, where the rich are getting richer.